according to the Wine Institute of America, the average amount of wine purchased every year has gone up by doubled 100% in the last 20 years. We went from approximately 500 million gallons of wine made and sold in the United States to almost 1 billion gallons of wine. And that's why I decided to do my presentation on the three top wines that are sold in the United States and how to best use the wines. So my main thing I want to do is to inform you on these specific wines because they are the top selling wines in the United States. And being someone in the cooking industry, I have had knowledge about wines for a long time, and I have been able to use some of these wines in various aspects of my career. I also have done a little bit of extra research just to make sure that I'm doing this topic justice. And I know a lot of you are not 21 yet, but just about there, so maybe next Thanksgiving you'll be able to have a little bit with your wonderful Thanksgiving feast. So I think this will be very important so you guys can understand a little bit more and make a more educated decision on what you will purchase, if any. And so I will start my presentation today with the top grossing wine. I will go to the second top grossing and then to the third. So I will begin with Chardonnay, which is the top grossing wine in the United States. Chardonnay is a white wine and comes in a variety of different aspects that make it so highly sought after. As you can see by my lovely visual aid, Chardonnay comes in multiple different fruit variants, which are all lighter fruits. They're not the raspberries and strawberries, which are saved more for the red wines. These are the lighter stuff, citrus, pineapple, stuff like that, and also can come in herbs and spice variants. So a little bit more variant there. And what most people don't understand is wines are put in barrels occasionally, which is why I have oak flavors, because they are occasionally put into a barrel, just not as long as the bourbons and whiskeys of the world. Now that you know a few of the different flavors of this wine, I would like to tell you what you should use it for. You should use the more basic plain Chardonnay that you would buy at the store for shellfish or crab, lobster, shrimp dishes. Something that is a little more light, which will pair nicely with the whiter wine, so a little bit lighter in the flavor. If you go towards the fruit variants, like the citrus, pineapple are the two that I know mainly about, go for more the pasta dishes, like creamy fettuccine, Alfredo, or something like that. So it'll keep it on a lighter note, but not going to be something that is too crazy about it. If you go towards the more the oak, which add a little bit more robust flavor to your wine, you should always go more towards anything that's a little bit richer. Go instead from the plain lobster to something that is really seasoned a lot more, use a lot more herbs, spices, and such to make it a little bit pair better. And what you should not do ever if you use a Chardonnay, but some people think it is, you all have your own taste, so you may decide to try it, but try to stay away from the smoked fish, smoked anything really, so anything that is smoked, so stay away from that, and stay away from tomato-based stuff. So no red sauce pastas, no tomato-based anything, because that'll not pair well. You should also probably stay away from the more ethnic foods, Thai and Chinese, because they're too complicated for a Chardonnay to handle. So now that I've told you about the top grossing, I will tell you about the second most grossing, which is the Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a red wine. It's the top grossing red wine of the group and comes in these very nice flavors. We come in the cherry, a black canary, and the blackberry. Comes in a little bit other stuff. They can try to infuse it with vanilla and violet and some of those. And yes, it is usually oaked as well, but for a little bit longer. So about 9 to 18 months. And when you're doing something like a red wine, you should always stick to more meat-based dishes. So pork chops, lamb chops, chicken breasts, stuff that are a little bit more meat-based. And those are a little bit of the things that you should try for. So I would suggest trying it with, if you do a pork chop, which is one of my favorite things, try to stick to, you know, grilled pork chops, grilled steaks, stuff like that. But try to not focus on, more focus on the meat and not about the sides. So do different things with that. So you could try more of the chicken on your pasta if you wanted to do pastas, or you could try more of just the plain old steak medallions, which is very good as well. And try to not, most things with red wine, you should try to avoid anything sweet. So don't do any ice cream, cakes, brownies, stuff like that, because it's not going to work well. The red wines are more based on the flavors that are savory and not sweet. And now that I've told you about the top grossing wine, the Cabernet, and the second, not the Chardonnay, and the second grossing, Cabernet Sauvignon, I'll tell you about the third top grossing, which is Merlot. Merlot is the second greatest selling wine in the red category, which, as you can tell, it goes from white, because a lot more people drink red wine than white wine. And as you can see, even though it is still a red wine, it can come in a few different variants, but these are not oaked as much. Dial it back a little bit, which is where you mainly get the Merlot flavors from dialing everything back a little bit. It's a little bit lighter. And you should definitely have these with anything that is grilled, like the Cabernet as well. Anything grilled, so grilled steaks and pork chop. Stick to more of that type of thing if you want a classic Merlot. And if you want to go towards the lighter, which is usually not oaked at all, go for pizza, pasta, Italian food mainly, stuff like that. But try to stay away from the lighter, creamier Alfredos and stick to more of the tomato sauces. And then if you want to do, the best thing about the Merlot that I've found is it can be very good for just comfort food. So just buy a normal Merlot and you can pair it with the meatloafs of the world, a burger, you know, the more comfort foods that you'd see at normal restaurants around here. And you should try to avoid fish with anything that is a red wine base. Stay away from the fish, the cream sauces, and anything that is really sharp in flavor. Something like a salsa or spicy food or just Mexican food in general is a little too much for a Merlot to pair nicely with. And now that I've told you about the three top grossing wines, the Merlot, the Cabernet, and the Chardonnay, I think you guys will be able to more understand what you should order if you are going to go to a fancy restaurant, like I know we're all going to go to one day, because we're going to get rich, and we're going to go to those fancy steak places and order a $30 meal. And I think you guys will be able to understand a little bit more and know what to do. And I really enjoyed this, and I hope you all will be able to enjoy your meals in the future. Any questions?
So what's your favorite wine?
I can't drink. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I can't drink. I'm not saying I haven't, but.
So what made you pick this topic?
I picked this topic because I feel that wines are kind of becoming dated from people's perspectives, and people instead are going towards beer than wine, and I think we really should still recognize that wine is really good still, and that it's one of the most varied type of drinks you can get. And I think that it's just kind of becoming one of those things that people don't think about, and I think people should think about because it can really enhance your meal. And as someone in that industry, I understand that someone will say, I want this wine because I really like it no matter what, but it really doesn't pair well with a lot of things. People don't understand that, and if they would try something else, I think they'll be like, man, this is so much better than what I thought it was going to be like, because the right wine can complete a meal full circle.